Hey folks, Ryan Hasenauer, Vice President of Business Development here at Batavia Downs. I'm joined by a very special guest here on our Facebook, and that is the legendary Lou Gramm. Lou, thanks for taking time out of your day to be with us today.
My pleasure, Ryan. My pleasure.
Awesome stuff. So we are looking forward to having you here in August. We had our big announcement on Friday to announce the 2025 Summer Concert Series here at Batavia Downs. And before that, though, I just want to tell you, congratulations on getting inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this past October.
I'm very happy about that. It's taken quite a long time, but we're in.
You're in, and it must have been such a thrill. I saw some of the videos, the people that joined you and the band on stage, and the duet that you sang. Just really exciting stuff there for sure.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Nice. So, as somebody that grew up in Rochester, I myself am a Fairport guy, so I grew up in the Rochester area as well.
Awesome.
When you take a look back, at your life and career, Lou, was there ever like an aha moment where you said to yourself, you know what, I'm good enough at this. I think I could do this for a living.
Well, I honestly thought when Black Sheep got its first record contract with Capitol Records, and we were in New York City recording, and right next to us in another studio within the confines of the name of the studio was John Lennon.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yes, and there was a break room, so if you were too wound up in the studio, you leave the studio, go into the break room. There was a pool table, a foosball table, and a coffee machine and stuff. And I remember after singing a vocal that was particularly uh, 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 interesting and a little complicated. I was whooped. I went into that studio, and there was John by himself shooting pool.
Oh my gosh. Wow. What a
Yes,
moment that must have been.
it was unbelievable. And he said, "Hey," he says, "you want to shoot a game?" And I knew that I was not a good pool player, but I said, "Yeah, why not?" Filled
Oh my,
myself up, and I said, "Yeah, I'll shoot a game with you." Yeah.
oh
And
my
he
God.
proceeded to whoop my butt in less than 2 minutes.
Right.
But he was asking me what I was doing in the studio, and I told him the name of the band, and we were recording our an album for Capitol Records, and he seemed interested enough, and he told me that he was working on the album where he covered all the hits from in the night. Mm, whoa, eagle down. You know that song, "Stand by Me."
Yeah, 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 yeah. Benny King, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He was doing the album with all the interesting cover songs
Oh
on it,
wow.
and he sounded awesome.
Ah,
I'd go over there and put my head against the door to hear what he was doing.
right, right, absolutely. I mean, with such a legend nearby, yeah, you can't
Yes,
help but want to be a part of all that stuff. That's amazing. So safe to say that obviously John Lennon would be maybe somebody who had influenced you at least in your love of music at an early age.
big time. Yeah, not only the songs that the Beatles wrote, but his particular vocal style really was influenced me when I started singing.
Nice. Oh, so looking back again at your career in the early years, was there ever a teacher or a mentor? It could be somebody in the music industry, or maybe just somebody that you talked to in high school or something like that, that really kind of set you up for success, had a significant impact on your life.
Well, I can't think of I played drums. I was in band,
Okay.
and I was in a marching band at Gates Childline High School and stuff. That was a lot of fun. It really was fun. But for the career that I'm in now, I would have to just my musical mentors like Steve Winwood, Paul Rogers, Stevie Wonder, even
Oh wow.
just a whole number of people who I enjoyed listening to. I thought they were awesome, and I gleaned a little bit of that style from them.
Right, right. So you mentioned Black Sheep earlier when we were talking. Oh, sorry about that. As this pops in here. So you mentioned Black Sheep. So as you became acclimated to the industry and you meet people like that probably on the way, were there any like lessons about rock and roll or the industry early on that you kind of took with you? Was there any moments you're like, I got to make sure I always remember to do this or that, whether it's something on the road or something with business moving forward? Were there any like early lessons for you?
There were early lessons, and one of the earliest lessons that I learned was you're when you're on stage, you're on. You know,
Right.
when you get off stage and you're meeting people, you're still on.
Correct.
You know,
Right. They're expecting you to be who you are
yeah, that
almost
same
any time you're with the
persona,
public. Yeah.
that's on stage, you got to take that with you off stage too.
Gotcha. So, and the path to being a musician these days is very different, with the internet and streaming services and
Yeah.
TikTok and all these other things. They allow for more exposure at an early time for artists. What advice would you give to somebody who's just starting out in the music industry that's hoping to make it?
Even though there's these advantages that we just spoke about, I
Sure.
think the the two biggest advantages that have been with us for years is the quality of the song that you're putting forth,
Hmm.
and that it doesn't go on too long where you see people fidgeting in their chairs.
Sure.
If anything, I learned to make the songs a little shorter than you would actually want them on the record. So you do a verse, a chorus, you come back for half a verse, and then chorus out. And so the demo actually is about a minute and a half, close to 2 minutes, where a song on the radio is 3 minutes or so. But
Right.
if you're trying to catch the ear of a record person, you want that song to be short and sweet and
Right.
hit home with the good parts.
Nice and tight and just kind of get to the point and
That's right.
that's yeah.
That's
So
exactly
speak
right.
so speaking of which, I also read that you're going to be releasing some new music and an album in June. So, at this point in your career, where are you drawing your inspiration from? Are there songs, I've seen and heard some artists talk about, I've been working on this song for years. I just need to find the right melody or the right, combination of lyrics. Are these going to be songs that you've kind of been inspired by recently, or are there songs you've been noodling with for years that you're finally kind of putting them, out there?
Surprisingly enough, there's I bet you at least half the album that the songs and the ideas, inspiration for 'em are brand new,
Hmm,
and they came first when I was thinking about this album,
sure.
and then I started going back to the Ready or Not album, my first solo album, and listening to the ideas I had for it. Like I had 10 songs on the album, but I had 13 ideas. And the three ideas that didn't make it to the album were the ones that weren't finished. But it
Right.
didn't mean they were the weakest ideas. They just weren't finished. So I went back and finished a couple of those, and now they're on my album.
Oh man, it's great to like never abandon those things, right? They're always there and they're just looking for the right time,
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. You
yeah.
grasped that right to a T.
So when you're getting ready to perform and getting ready to go out on stage, knowing and seeing the audience, whether you're indoor or outdoor, whether it's like a festival type atmosphere or maybe a small intimate show in like let's say a 500 or 1,000 seat arena, you mentioned about being on when you're on stage. Are there different levels depending on the type of situation that you're about to perform in front of that you kind of, might change your delivery or change your the way that you kind of present yourself on stage at all?
Well, it's basically the same, but I think in a more intimate setting, you kind of act a little bit more intimate. You can talk, you can get excited about the next song you're going to sing, but talk quietly to the audience and let the suspense build.
Hmm. Yep.
But when you're doing an outdoor festival football field or something, it's full on. Hey, You want to hear this?
Right.
You know?
Hello, St. Louis, whatever you got to
Yeah,
do.
right.
Nice. Uh, so in taking a look at your Instagram and your social media pages, we did our research and talked to Bob and got everything ready to go as we got ready to release this. I
Sure.
noticed that you have a foundation. Can you tell our audience a little bit about your foundation and who it helps?
It's the Lou Gramm Foundation,
Hmm.
it's set up to help aspiring musicians who don't have the funds to help them take that next step.
Right.
And that could be someone who has taken lessons from a good teacher, and it has come a ways in their musicality and their ability to play well, and then just hits a dead end financially where they can't go any farther because they don't have the money to go any farther.
Oh,
That's where we would come in. You know, we would hear demos from these people, and possibly get them the lessons they need and deserve, even to the point of getting them. They might be playing on a beat up old axe that's seen better days 10 years ago. You know, we would get them a substantially better instrument that would take them to the next two or three levels.
oh, wow. And I see that your son is part of that process. It must be a thrill to be able to work with him on something.
It is, and while he's not really an aspiring musician for his career or anything, he does play a little bit. He's been around me when I've recorded and written songs enough to know the process, and,
Right.
and and he really, the needs of these aspiring musicians or songwriters, he identifies with that. So he's pretty much put this foundation together by himself.
It's incredible stuff that, like you said, it runs in the blood in terms of, the musicianship and knowing, kind of what it takes. So it sounds like he's a perfect person to be in that position.
He is. He's asked me some questions that would help him get down the road a little further and stuff.
Sure.
But the basics are it's his baby,
Right.
and
So,
dad's just giving him a little advice along the way now and then,
right.
and
As we do.
supporting him as often as I can. So for instance, when we have people who are part of the foundation at one of my shows, we make sure they get backstage into my dressing room about 45 minutes before we go on, and they can ask me questions about my career and about certain songs or about how to get from step A to step B. Here's where they are. They have song ideas and they're recorded. Now what do I do with them? You know, so I
Right.
help them out there, and the type of people they need to have around them to help them. You know,
Right. Yeah.
it's all a process.
That's incredible stuff. So we just talked about your son. I was talking to my son last night, who's 10, and I said, "Hey, buddy, tomorrow I get to interview Lou Gramm. He's coming to the show, or he's coming to the concert series next summer." And of course, he knows some of the big hits that you have. And I said to
Awesome.
him, "What would be a good question that I should ask Lou?" And so this is from my son. This is my son's question.
Sure.
What is your favorite song to perform on stage?
Uh, they're all like your children. What's your favorite child, right?
Right,
That,
right.
that's
That's
that,
the question to
that,
ask. Yeah.
that's what I say. But I do have songs that really lift me up when we perform, and I would say, for example, "Jukebox Hero" is one of the songs that we get the biggest response from the audience right in the middle of the song. Sometimes,
Right, right.
it's a lot of fun to hear them singing along at the top of their lungs, "Jukebox Hero."
Yes.
Not any particular melody, they're just shouting,
Yeah, yeah.
but
Ah,
it's pretty awesome. And "Hot Blooded" also is that kind of song, and I would even say "I Want to Know What Love Is." The I back in Foreigner in the day, we used to, every time we played, we'd have a local gospel choir rehearse with us that song and be on stage with us when we performed it.
Oh, it's amazing.
And that was awesome. We had them all mic'd up, and they all knew this song. All they wanted to do was rehearse with us a couple times, and then that night it was magic, you know. But
Oh man.
but these days, when I'm out, we actually don't have time for that, or a person to go to the next city we're going to play and find us a good gospel. We just don't have the ability to do that.
Right, right.
So, but once in a while, we do find a good choir, and they come up and they sing, and they're fantastic. So it's a mixed bag. But when there's no choir, I tell the audience that, well, we don't have a choir tonight, but I wanted to ask you, would you help us out on the choruses? And they'll be, yeah, you know. So
A
it's
great way.
just as much fun to have the audience sing along with you as a choir.
Absolutely. So, expound on, just, going around, as you said, traveling and going different places. Is there a favorite show or favorite venue that you have that you've performed in?
There's a few, but I've got a list. Pine Knob in Detroit is one of the best amphitheaters I believe I've performed in. I think I've been there about 7 or 8 times, and they've changed the name for 4 or 5 years. Then it goes back to being Pine Knob and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to hopefully performing there this spring, and get that feeling back again. You know?
Absolutely. I'm sure every single place has different acoustics.
Yes.
It may even be in that you like the town or the city. There's all different things I'm sure that go into to that. So,
Oh,
um,
yeah.
and just I'm going to share this quick story with you here as we kind of wrap up.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember, but you were actually part of the inaugural Batavia Downs concert series here back in 2017.
I do
You,
remember.
yeah, you performed in July here, and I think you were the fourth of the five concerts we had. In those days, we tried to get all of our concerts done before racing started because we have harness racing here. Now we go into harness racing, and it's every Friday. But it's one of the most amazing things because the day that you were scheduled to perform, there was a forecast of storms in the area. Here we are, never having done a summer concert series, and oh no, it's the first concert where there's going to be rain in the forecast. So all day long, we're thinking to ourselves, okay, well, what are we going to do? How are we going to play this? Whatever. Well, by some divine intervention, there was no rain. All the rain that was coming was either passing to the west or to the north, and it wasn't really coming. So we get all the way through all the opener sets. We get through all of your set, and you're just about to start your encore. You'd left for maybe like a half a minute, like you do, and
Yep.
you were coming back out. And I was standing on top of an SUV that was parked along behind like our food trucks that we have, just so I
Okay.
get like the best view of you doing your thing. And I believe at the time your first song out of your encore was Jukebox Hero. And just as you started, and I think for the live performance, there's a little bit more of an intro, right, with the guitar and with the other
Yes.
things that
Yes.
kind of before you
And
actually start
my
speaking.
first line is standing in the rain.
Right. And wouldn't you know it, but just before they started this song, just before they started the encore, just the smallest trickle of rain started to come down. It was like, oh, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. And I'm looking off into the distance because, of course, on the track, you can see in every direction, into the sky for miles. And west of us towards Buffalo, I could see the rolling lightning going through and lighting up the clouds, but it wasn't coming near us. It wasn't, within a realm where we'd have to stop the concert or everything. But just and there was no thunder, just like the littlest of rain, just as you said those lines. It was like, oh man, what a moment, right? What an incredible moment. And I want to thank you.
I had that worked out before the show.
Sure. You just put a call to the man upstairs to make it happen.
Yes.
But I gotta tell you, it's such an incredible moment, and Lou, I will remember that for the rest of my life. So
That's
thank you
awesome.
for being part of something that was just so magical here at Batavia Downs.
It's beautiful when it happens.
It is. So we're hoping for no rain, quite frankly, in the
Yes.
forecast on August 1st of 2025 when we welcome you
We'll
to
take
here
it
at
as it
Batavia
comes.
Downs.
So right.
Right. Well, hey, listen, we if anything at Batavia Downs, we're very nimble. We always react and can do what we need to do on the day of
That's
the show.
awesome.
So thanks again for joining us. And again, tickets are available now on BataviaConcerts.com. Come see Lou Gramm and possibly one of his final performances out here in the Western New York area on August
It's
1st,
going to be a lot of
2025.
fun. I promise you, we're going to rock your socks off.
Can't wait, Lou. Thanks again.
Bye now.
All right, we'll see ya.